Good morning. Good morning. Buenos dias. Bonjour. Who's here? Buenos dias, everybody. I am back in Panama City. Camille Waters, buenos dias. How are you? Morning. Good morning. Who else is here? Good morning. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. Who's here? Good morning. You could say good morning so I know who's here. Keisha McQueen, good morning. You just left. Wife and I stayed at Hilton, Panama. Oh, you already left. How did you like it, Camille? The Hilton is on the same road. I'm on Balboa, so you were close to me. How was it, Camille? Good morning. Buenos dias. 19 of you. Come on, guys. Let's get to about 30. Your third trip. Oh, awesome. You just vacationing or are you thinking of moving over? Make sure my volume is up. Third trip. You know, I made 3 trips before, and the 4th one I stayed. So I get it. Oh, wonderful. So that means you're on your way to becoming a permanent resident. Awesome. Wow, 33. Yay, we made it to 30. Guys, I am so glad you guys are here. And I want to thank those of you who tuned in last Sunday when I was in Cusco, Peru. I got back on Friday, and I just kind of crashed and took a long nap. Indonesia. Oh, great. Okay. I hope it's a real person. So happy to be home, you guys. You know how it is when you're on vacation. It's not the same, you know, sleeping in your own bed. I was so happy to be home, but I absolutely love Peru. I'm telling you. I told the ladies, I said, okay, I didn't get that feeling that I had when I came to Panama, and I was like, oh, this is nice. I feel like I could live here. Peru, it's close because, you know, that food got me. You know, I'm a foodie, I'm a cook. The food was amazing. It doesn't matter which restaurant I went to. I was in the mountain in the Sacred Valley, and the food was amazing there. They don't have little fondas like we have here, but everything was just amazing. But I don't like to be cold very much, and apparently they do get some cold weather in Peru. And in Cusco, I was at 11,155 feet or something like that. So I took a flight from Lima to Cusco, and as soon as I got, you know, the little plank, the walkway for you to get out, I was just walking that, and it was like, I started hyperventilating. I fell short of breath. The elevation hit me right then. And I went to the restroom and I came out. It wasn't so bad. Yam and potatoes. Not everybody celebrates Thanksgiving. I have news for you. But we're going to have a gathering. We're going to call it Friendsgiving, okay? So I do have, what do you call this? I I'm gonna be baking some sweet potato something, but not here on this live. But yeah, we're gonna have sweet potato. I am cooking a turkey. All right, so get off my case, okay? Big mac and cheese. I might make it for my guests. Yeah, I make scallop potatoes, mac and cheese, turkey. I'm cooking rice and peas, doing a salad. There's some vegetables with asparagus and green beans. I'm not doing a green bean casserole, but I did buy a bag of camote, which is what we call sweet potato here, and I will make like a souffle. Yeah. Adonis, you're getting ready to be blocked again. Don't play games here on this live, okay? All right. So the elevation was an issue. So they tell you, they call it elevation sickness. And every hotel has a little bag of coca leaves. And the coca leaves is what they use to make cocaine. So they tell you, some people would do it in a tea. But I took a cooking class, and the chef said the best way to get rid of the elevation sickness, which you get, short of breath and a headache, and I had a headache for 2 days, is to take a couple of the leaves and chew it. And that's what the Inca people use for a lot of other ailments. But I was like, I'm staying away from that coca thing. So I took some Tylenol, some leaves, and my little Airbnb was up 3 flights of steps because you're in the mountains. Everywhere in Peru, you're in a mountain. Lima is at the foot of a big old mountain. Wherever you go, you have dunes and mountains, right? So I started feeling better on the 3rd day, but the next day I was coming home. So I think if I stayed for about a month, I would get acclimated. But let me tell you that the elevation thing is no joke. Yep, you got to, and they tell you, they say don't suffer. This guy even had to go into the reception and get some oxygen because they took his oxygen saturation. He was 78. You're supposed to be over 95. And I remember the first day I was coming from, being out. And of course, when I'm out, I pace myself. But when I got to the steps, it was like every 5-10 steps I had to stop and catch my breath and let my heart go down. And I was like, you're not spring chicken. Don't come here and have a heart attack. But I think the second time I did better. So I think it's a matter of getting acclimated. But just be ready for it because I've seen a couple of people. When I climbed Machu Picchu, it wasn't that bad because I had my guide and it rained all day. So he was holding my hand and I didn't want to slip and fall. That was my biggest fear. But I paced myself. Once you pace yourself, you're fine. What market did I buy? What do you mean everything? You mean for Thanksgiving? The turkey, you can find turkey at Reba Smith. I saw them at Ray and also I saw them at Super 99. I don't know what I did with the potatoes. I was at Cinco de Mayo today. Oh yeah. And they were selling these bags of sweet potatoes. And I got this for $1, which is cheap because it was from the side of the road. Potatoes, you're gonna find that anywhere to make the scallop potato. Sweet potatoes, and then you can find the cream in the dairy section at Ray. I shop at Ray, but I think you can find that anywhere. And Reba Smith has all kind of cheeses. They're a little pricey. I'm just warning you, but you can find that. But the turkey you can find. I'm going to get my turkey tomorrow because it's going to have to thaw out. And I'm thinking by Wednesday, I don't know if I'm going to be able to brine it because I don't have something big to put it in this seasoned water to brine. So if I don't brine it, it's okay. I'll just make a herb butter. Get the butter, soften the butter, and then put your garlic, all your herbs, rosemary for meat, cilantro, You know, if you want any hot pepper, which I could find at Ray, and then your salt and pepper, and then just pick up the skin and just shove that butter all over under the skin where you can, and then tie the legs and put it in the fridge on Wednesday, right? And then on Thursday, when you are going to put it in the oven. And remember, the key to a good, juicy turkey, when you put, it's good to buy the turkey with the little tip that kind of pops up when it's cooked. Very important. Otherwise, I think they tell you so many minutes per pound. You can look that up. But the way I do my turkey, I'll put it by itself in the oven, and then I put it on broil. You know, you want the heat on top, because what you're trying to do is to crisp up the skin, right? So put it on broil at about 500. Watch it. Once it gets nice and crispy, you cover it really tight, and then you lower the heat to about 325. Slow cooking. Don't keep lifting the skin and basting. No, no, no. Leave it. Once the thing pops, I think at about 3 hours, I would check it, right? If the little thing pops up, you know it's cooked, uncover it and let it sit in there for another 15, 20 minutes. Because if you keep basting it, you're changing the temperature inside the oven, and that's not recommended. Cooks tell you not to do that, okay? And once you finish cooking your turkey, you need to let it rest. You've heard that before, right? Let it rest. All the juices just stay in. Thank you, whoever gave, oh, Camille, thank you. Let it rest. Then all the juices stabilize, because when you cut into the meat, when it's really hot, and you're thinking you're getting it when it's hot, no. Because when you cut into the turkey, any meat, even steak, excuse me, if you cut into it when it's hot, the juices are gonna flow out. And that's how you get a dry turkey breast. No, don't do that. High heat to get the crisp, cover it all the way, let it cook slow. Like I said, you know how much your turkey weighs? Look up, I forgot how many hours per, how many minutes per pound, and you multiply it. It could be 5 hours, it could be 4 hours, depending on the size of your turkey, right? And then once it's cooked, uncover it, because then you want everything to be nice and golden. And then let it rest for at least 15, 20 minutes before you cut into it. Because if you take the turkey out and you let it rest for 15, 20 minutes, it's not gonna get cold, okay? It's not gonna get cold, so don't worry about that. Cook uncovered, then cover, then uncover again, right? Cook it with the broiler, 500, crisp it up, cover it up. Once it's cooked, take the foil off, and then let it cook for another few minutes, then let it rest. You're gonna get juicy turkey every time. Now, you can season outside the turkey with your, hopefully you're not using old pepper and garlic. You know, that's my pet peeve. So get your fresh spices, your salt and pepper, do all the outside, making sure it's nice and covered. Then get your herb butter, lift the skin up and put it all the way under the skin. Butter, yes, butter. This is Thanksgiving for you guys celebrating that. Okay. Good morning, Greta. Hey. Any other question, you guys? Okay, because, yeah, I was telling you about my trip to Peru. I don't know how I ended up with Peru. I was supposed to go to Colombia with these ladies, and then that kind of changed, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to Peru because I wanted to see Machu Picchu. First day, it was a 3-hour ride from Panama City to Peru, straight 3 hours. I was praying for good weather, and we got it, because the weather has been a little crazy over here. Landed in Lima, no problem. The airport is beautiful. I think I took an Uber. I took an Uber to my hotel in Miraflores. Lima, like Panama City, has multiple neighborhoods. In Panama City, we have 26 corregimientos, we call those. That means neighborhoods. They tell me Lima has 43. So it's a much bigger city. It's got almost 11 million people. Woo! It's really, really busy and congested. Traffic, everybody appears to have a car, which is a problem. And they still drive as crazy as they do here, okay? So you as a pedestrian, you don't have the right of way. Watch, I always look, but they're not gonna stop for you, okay? And the drivers just push their way through. Yeah, it's the same. I think it's a South America, Central America, African thing. So don't worry about it, it's the same. So there are different neighborhoods in Lima, and Miraflores is one that is very well known. It's a little bit on the higher end. Lots of police around for security. Reminds me of Casco Viejo here, but it's not old like that. The buildings are much older. Streets are paved. Beautiful sidewalks. I was like salivating. I'm like, oh, look at the sidewalks. Beautiful. And what I liked about Lima, some of the streets have paths on the side for the bikes and the scooters, right? And some of the streets inside Miraflores, that path is in the median, in the middle of the two streets on both sides. They have the long median with very nice sidewalks, and they have trees on both sides, and people are just strolling around with their dogs and just taking all your steps. You can take them through that middle path. That's so nice. You know, they took the people who design those cities, city planners, and sometimes you realize that it took a lot of planning and design when somebody's planning a neighborhood. And just like in Panama City, we have a neighborhood called Costa del Este, and people tell you they have nice paths because it was a newer, more modern type of planned community. So that's what I see in Miraflores. Miraflores is beautiful. They have nice areas, my God, restaurants and entertainment. The best thing about Miraflores is like you're about 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes from the beach. Lima has like thousands of miles of coast. I mean, and it like goes for miles. It's just beautiful, beautiful. So the food, the beach, Miraflores, yes. I was tempted because the food alone is going to make a believer out of me. All right, so today I think this is the last time I'm gonna make a soup. I didn't think about Thanksgiving, even though I wouldn't want to make a Thanksgiving dish today, because then I would be stuck eating it. And I even have to prepare for Thanksgiving. And when I came back on Friday, it was like, I need a cleanse. I ate beef. There is a dish called lomo saltado. Saltado in Peru, saltado means salted. It doesn't mean it's salty. It just means it's not savory, right? So they have this dish that is very common. They cut the meat, the beef in like pieces like that. And then it's got tomatoes and onions. And then they have a sauce that they make with soy sauce, oyster sauce, and red wine vinegar. And they toss it in. The first time I got to Miraflores and I went to a restaurant called Panchita. You know, I kind of read people recommendation. They said to go to that. And boy, oh boy. And I asked for the lomo saltado. They have a strong Chinese influence in the cuisine in Peru. So all the soy sauce and the lo mein type thing are from Chinese influence. But in Peru, papas, potatoes are king. Someone told me they have like 3,000 plus species of potatoes. So you can go to the market and you see barrels and barrels of different sizes of potatoes. They have a special potato for frying, a special potato for soups, a special potato for this and that. And I even saw one potato species, they say it's medicine. Inca people, everything they did was about nature, Mother Earth, which they worship, and they talk to the sun. And when you go to listen to the story in Machu Picchu, they tell you how they can look at the sun and it tells them when to do their crops, when to plant this and that. It's amazing. And there was an area called the Sacred Valley. It's at Villa Sagrado, I don't know how to say, they say valley. But anyway, they grow this corn. The kernels are about this big, and they're kind of a pale yellow. It's called the choclo. So one thing, it was recommended, that you have a delicacy, but in that area, because, you know, when you're driving or the train, you take the train to go to Machu Picchu and you see miles and miles of just corn crops, corn and corn. So they're selling this big ear of corn with the white and big kernel, and then they sell it to you with a piece of cheese. It's choclo con queso. Of course I had to try it. So it was yummy, but only one time I couldn't do it again. So, I mean, it was an amazing trip. So if you guys have never been to Machu Picchu, it was a bucket list item for me, and I'm so glad I did it. So I can check it and say next. Hello, God's grace is amazing. Hello, hello. Hello, I'm thinking about moving there. Where? To Panama? Sandra from Gainesville, Florida. Wonderful, Sandra. I live in, oh my God, outside of Orlando. I forgot where I live. But anyway, I looked at Gainesville when I was moving from New York, and I was looking for a job there as a nurse. My husband was a respiratory therapist, so hello from Florida. All right, guys. So today I decided to recreate one of the soups that I had at a place called Siete Sopas, 7 soups. In Peru, they call broth caldo, C-A-L-D-O. So when you go in there, it doesn't matter if you go to the little cheap Panamanian mom and pop, everybody's got caldo, caldo, caldo. So you can have caldo de. De means all. So caldo de gallina. Gallina is what they refer to as poultry or chicken. So if you say sopa de gallina, I would say here in Peru is caldo de gallina or caldo de pollo or caldo de carne, de res, or caldo de cerdo. So you tell them if you want pork in it, beef, and in Peru, they eat all the parts of the animal. So we went to this in Cusco. There is a big market, the market that I rode with you guys on Sunday, where they can take the head and cut it, cook it really slow. So you could be walking by and you see a big pot of broth with like 1/4 of a head sitting in there. And the chef said, if you're a foreigner, don't go down that little thing, because that's you're gonna see some weird stuff. And I was passing. You guys heard me when I said, what is that? It's like la lengua. They have the tongue in there. I've eaten tongue before. It's pretty nice. But the head and the brain, I draw the line. So caldo with rice and potatoes, that is the thing. Someone told me chicken was something that they farm a lot. The chef said pork is the #1 meat, like as in Asia, and beef, they eat some of that, but one delicacy is the guinea pig. I forgot what they call it. So I said, I draw the line. I am not eating the guinea pig. It's a little bit like this, and just I'm like, no. But apparently it's a delicacy. If you go to somebody's house and they have a lot of respect for you, they're gonna serve you guinea pig. I'm so glad no one offered it to me. I didn't go into somebody's house, but I'm like, I'm not eating it. No. And they also eat alpaca, which is a cute little mammal that looks like a sheep. you know, they do the skin, and they do alpaca sweaters. I don't know. I think I would be okay with that, but I'm not eating it. They have alpaca burger, which is apparently something that is a big thing, and I'm like, no. I don't eat meat anyway, but I find if I eat some beef, my tummy does okay. But chicken, I'm still working on that. I don't think I'm gonna go back to chicken. You got wigs for driving. I got wigs. All right. So today, my last dish, my last soup for the winter, you guys. We did chili. We did that Thai curry soup the other day, and I forgot what else I did. So next week, I'm going to be cooking real food. But today, I thought I would try one soup. So I like to have bones to make my broth when I make soup. So I went to the Mercado de Mariscos this morning, which is the fish market. But on the other side, when you cross the street, they have the meat market there. And San Felipe is on one side, the meat market is on the other. So I was looking for some bones. And then I said, what about an oxtail? In Panama here, when you go to the butcher and you say, tiene rabo. Rabo means tail. And then I got me a rabo. When you buy the tail here in Panama, they don't cut it and put it in on a plate and per pound. You buy the tail, okay, the whole thing, and then they weigh it and they tell you. So I got the tail. So I season it. It's been cooking for about hour and a half. I don't have a pressure cooker, and I think I need to invest in one if I'm gonna cook oxtail again. But I feel like my kitchen is starting to look like my old kitchen. With all my stuff, and I'm trying to get rid of stuff. But when you're a cook, you need your tools. So anyway, so the oxtail has been cooking. So I am going to drain the fat out of it, okay? And then we're gonna start on our soup. This is the soup that I posted in my community comment. It was green, and the only thing I can think of that it was infused with basil, because it had a big piece of basil on top of it, and it's got some pasta. It had some cabbage, of course, potatoes and carrots. So it's like a minestrone, and also there was some beans, some peas. So I boiled some kidney beans and some chickpeas. So we're gonna put all that in there. So right now, let me get rid of the fat, and then we're gonna get going because we don't want that fat. Okay? Hang on. All right, vamos. No fat. I'm losing my voice. Wow. Okay. Wow, it was quite a bit of fat. All right. So, by the time we cook this, it's gonna be good. So right now we're going to start. I have the sweet potato, but I don't want to put sweet potato in it. But I think the first thing I need to do is I bought a big, like 1 pack of the basil. I rinsed it. So I'm going to blend this and see if it gives me the color, because I don't think I want to put more than 1 bunch of basil in there, okay? All right. smells good, but I don't think it's gonna be that green. I wonder if they put something else in it, because that doesn't come out green like it was. Okay. It's still gonna be yummy though. And I also made extra broth this morning, which is a good thing because I don't think I want to overpower the soup with basil. I'm not doing any more. Because you know, herbs, you got to be careful. You don't want to overdo anything because sometimes you can have the opposite effect. So with your soup, you need your broth, and that's what's going to give you flavor. So this morning, I boiled this one. I have some cabbage that I'm going to put in there. And I took the cork and I put it in there. I put some bay leaves, and then I had bought some leeks. They were like $1.25 for a pack of like 4 of these, which is really cheap for here. So I cut some of those leaves, and then I boiled them to make your broth because you're trying to build flavor, right? This is it. So I'm going to pour it, watching to see how much I need, because that's gonna be Maggie drinking all this or eating all the soup. So, all right. But that soup was amazing. And then at Siete Sopas, which is where I got the soup, they had an open kitchen, you know, that round. Whew, I was getting emotional just watching these young kids sitting there with their chef's hat, and then the big old pots. They had the thing in the middle of that area, and they were stirring the soup. Oh, brought back memories. All right, so we're gonna let our broth come to a boil, and we can chat while I get the rest of the stuff ready. Now we know, again, like I keep telling you, when you're cooking, it's all about timing, right? So I know that my carrots not gonna take so long to cook, and I don't like carrots overcooked. So I'm gonna put the carrot and the cabbage at the same time. And oh, I have a couple of potatoes, hang on. So I came home yesterday. I had to clear my kitchen when I left. So yesterday I had to go and buy, I needed everything like garlic and lemon. I had to buy all this stuff because I didn't have any. I didn't want to leave anything in my fridge that would go bad. So all these are gonna go together at the same time. So the carrots. And the carrots also in Peru were like big. So we're gonna put, and then I'm gonna cut this big, they're just so big, I'm just gonna cut them in half. But carrots is one of the things that is so healthy for you when you're cooking. If you're making any soup, you wanna be sure you're putting some carrots in there. And I love raw carrots. I just like to chew on them. Good for your eyes, vitamin A, you guys know that. I think that should be enough carrots. And the cabbage, they didn't have them too small, so we're gonna leave them in chunks. And the leek, I already rinsed it. Leek, to me, it's like a big green onion. So when you're making your soups, make sure you put some in there. It's gonna up the flavor. Just make sure you rinse your leek really well. Remember, it's very sandy. It's been in the ground. So outside of Lima, they have a neighborhood of Barranco. Barranco is very artistic. A lot of museums, and you see arts on the in the streets, on the wall. And what else? Then they have Chorillos, which is another neighborhood, but that one looks a little suspect. But one other thing that Peru is dealing with, I was watching a video from a couple, the Yalboros. They like nomads, they visit a lot. And last year they were in Peru, and Peru has an uprising. You know, they had like a president that resigned, or his term came over, and then the people were protesting about something. A lot of people ended up dying. They shut down the airport, and that couple was stuck there for a little bit. So even now, I took a tour downtown, and they were having protests going on. The police was standing there with their shields or whatever, just in case it got violent, because it has, that's been known to happen. And so I like to talk to my Uber drivers or my guides, and I'm like, okay, so tell me about the political situation. And they all talk really bad about their current president, who is female, by the way. I know. We couldn't get one elected. They got one, but they don't like her. What can I tell you? Oh my gosh, the world. So what the issue that they tell me they're having, so these are my potatoes. I'm not going to put the potatoes at the same time as I do these veggies, because I know the potatoes are going to cook a lot faster. So I am going to put them in some water with a little bit of vinegar. And what the vinegar does, it keeps them from going brown, okay? And then I have to remember I want to have enough broth, so I don't want to put a bunch of things in it. Oh, it smells so good with the basil. So the problem they were having, and even in the news, I'm always watching the news when I travel, they had a young woman who had been killed. I think they were trying to rob her of her phone, and maybe she was fighting, I don't know, but they shot her dead, so she died. So, and a lot of things people are telling me they're having over there is what they call extortion. If somebody comes and say, okay, you're gonna park over here, 10 soles. Soles is the money that they have. $1 was equal 3.6 or 3.8 soles when I was there. If they want your cell phone, they were showing in the news that, I was telling you there's a path on the side, on the middle of on the side of the road for the bikes. They come down on their bike, some are wearing masks, and they grab your phone and they go. And if you put up for a fight, you know what can happen. So that is a problem they're having in Peru. People talk about that. So even when you are visiting, stay in the areas where they have a lot of cops. Like Miraflores is pretty safe, but once you go out, so I took the bus from Cusco to Lima. I know, I'm a brave soul. 23 hours. I said, okay, I want to see the mountain. I want to see the Andes, because it's a 1-hour flight from Lima to Cusco. I could have taken a 1-hour flight, but I was on that bus for 23 hours. And I wanted to be with the local. That's just me. I do that here. Last year, I traveled all over Panama City, Panama. I just went to the terminal and looked and took a bus and then drove the bus, stopped there, went to the little hostel, took another bus. To me, that's how you see the country. And I saw a lot with this Andes mountain, with these roads like this, and the big semi coming to the corner. They had to beep, and I'm like, oh my God, and you see the shield drop. Whew. It was it was scary, but I made it. I'm a firm believer that you don't go before your time. When it's your time, it's your time. Um, so yeah, some areas. Cusco is in the south. They say in the north they were having some issues last year. There are protests to the police. But anyway, so they have some issues. And I know here in Panama, people protest a lot, but it's not usually violent. People protest because they need they want their needs addressed, like water, infrastructure, the road. That's what people protest about here. And last year, they protested about the mine that ended up closing. So the government works really close with the population here to address their needs. And if they start protesting, they block the road, I'll tell you, within hours, they have a meeting with the officials and they come to a resolution. This is what Panama has that some other countries may not have. And something we're not familiar with because nobody listens to us anyway. But anyway. So, ooh, actually it's not green, but it's not the regular color. So, oops, I'm happy with how it's looking. Okay, let me show you. It's not green, but it's like a light brown. I like that. Okay, so, ooh, I really like that. But I'm not gonna put any marinara or anything to change the color. I'm gonna show the color just it is. Let me just taste to see what the flavors use. It's pretty good. All right, so these go in. Okay. And again, please don't ask me how much of this, how much of that. It's just, ooh, it looks good. All right. And it's one of those soups that I'm not gonna change the consistency because I want the broth. And then we're gonna put the potatoes with the beans. And then the pasta is gonna go last because the pasta, we want it to be al dente. So it's like when it's almost done, we'll put the pasta in. All right. Al dente means a little crunchy. You don't want, it's like spaghetti. You don't want everything to be overcooked. And that's why timing is important in cooking. Okay. The last thing that they had in this soup is some cheese that looked like not blue cheese, maybe feta, right? But here in Panama, I like this queso blanco that is usually marinated in some oil and other things. So this little thing here is like $3.30 or $3.40. Cheese is expensive in Panama. That's why if you want to do a lot of cheesy stuff, you're going to pay for it. Oh, put that in there. Yep. So yeah, they do have some issues in Peru, but I was attracted, the food, number one. Peru is known as the culinary destination, okay? The best restaurant in the world was voted in 2023, and that is a restaurant that is in Lima called Central Kitchen. I looked it up, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I can go experience that. It costs $180 to $250 to eat there. Your sis doesn't have that kind of money, and since I can cook, I'm like, no. Plus, it's like a 12-course meal. I don't need to eat that much. And they're probably going to have some locally sourced something that he grows in the yard that I don't know, and I don't eat things that I don't know. So I said, no. And I said, well, maybe I'll go there and just take a selfie in front of the sign. It was going to be an hour, and I was walking from Miraflores, and I'm like, So I didn't do it. But I want you to know, when they say that Peru is a culinary destination, they mean it. And I've been there, I've tasted that food. There is something about that food. And of course, when you pay attention to your broth, it says a lot about the kind of cuisine you're going to have, because everything starts from your broth. If you work on developing flavor, and that's what I keep telling you guys, if you do that, then your food's going to be tasty. And you won't need to use Maggie, you won't need to use MSG, you don't need to use all that stuff. I remember when I was in school and the chef was making us do mayonnaise, and my arm was beating that egg yolk, and I was like, chef, I said, Hellman's tastes pretty good. I was being a smart aleck, and he's like, if you're going to use Hellman, you don't belong here. I'm like, oh, okay. They made us make mustard, and I'm like, okay, I don't eat those things that much, but to spend time making homemade mayonnaise, I don't eat mayonnaise, so I don't need to do that. So, but I say this to let you know that if you care about the quality of food that you eat, you can learn the basics and then make your own food. It's going to be safer for you. We're going to make you feel better, and you're going to feel better about investing in your health. Use your herbs. Use good oil, coconut oil, olive oil, grapeseed oil. I was watching something the other day. I don't think I knew that. I think I used grapeseed for my scalp, but they said that it's the seeds of the grape. Can you imagine how many seeds you need to make oil? And that's why this is the oil that has the highest smoking point. That means it tolerates the highest amount of heat. Who knew? I didn't know that. But anyway, so there is a big thing now about not eating oil that is made from, is it seeds or flour? I don't know. But anyway, so now when I was growing up, corn oil, soy, and all this stuff was good. Now they say it's not. They, not me. But I stick to extra virgin olive oil. So I buy olive oil. Avocado oil is good, but it is super expensive. Coconut oil, I don't like the taste. I love coconut. I don't like to cook with it. I put it in my hair and in my skin. But yes, Peru has the food. The fruits, oh my God. The mangoes, you know, I was buying mangoes and taking them into my hotel. I didn't have a knife with my nail. I was peeling it because, first of all, the chef told me that they spray all their food with pesticides. So it's like, oh, don't talk to me about organic or whatever. So I go into the hotel and I take a soap and I take a towel and I scrub the mango and then I peel it. And he said, don't eat any of the skin. So that's what I did. The mangoes, oranges, big mandarins, pineapple, papayas, what we call soursop. They have them smaller and they call it shiramaya or something like that. And they cut it and eat it. I mean, when I think of soursop, I make ice cream and I make smoothies. They just eat it. But the fruit galore, beautiful. Oh my God. Passion fruit is just rampant there. And they have another one that's called grenadine. I know in my country we use that and we make juice with it. And the juice is called chicha. And then even here, if you say you want chicha de, that means I want the juice of chicha de piña, chicha whatever, right? And the chicha morada, I put a picture of it on my Facebook page. Yes, I'm gonna cook for Thanksgiving. I'm having a few ladies here. Soursop tea, interesting. But they don't call it soursop. You know, soursop is called differently depending on where you are. And theirs is this big, small. Here, you can find them this big. And every time I buy one here, the inside it's bad. So I stopped buying it. But over there, so good. And Peruvian people love ice cream. There is helado everywhere. Helado meaning ice cream. So it's not just the kids, grown up, teenagers, young people, everybody's eating ice cream. So there's gelato everywhere. So caldo, gelato, rice, they eat rice, but not as much as Panamanians, I can tell you that. But papas, they say if you don't like papas, don't go to Peru because it's papas with everything. So the dish I was telling you, the lobo saltado, which is the beef, and they had some big old fries on top of this beautiful steak dish. And I'm like, what are the fries doing there? He said, that's how we eat it. I'm like, oh. When the bus finally stopped for us to eat somewhere, they had pescado frito, fried fish. That's one of my weaknesses. I'm like, I'll have the fried fish. I said, what comes with it? He said something that looks like, what do we call that? With cabbage. Little side of, they're not big on veggies either. I don't know if it's a South American or Central American thing. The fruit galore. Papas, meat, soup, but vegetables. I didn't see spinach anywhere. I saw some squash, but they're like humongous, like calabaza squash. I saw some cabbage, heads of cabbage, big. Papas. You're not gonna find a lot of sweet potato. They had some lettuce. You can find salads in the restaurants. They have carrots, but I didn't see any. What do they call that? Eggplant. I didn't see. So I don't know what it is, but they're not big on on veggies. Greens like we think of it. And I'm a green freak, so. But anyway, all right, we are boiling away. The other thing we're gonna do on the side of this soup, I'm gonna make some toast, some herb toast. Now, I bought this crusty loaf here. It is the closest to a French bread loaf that I found here. And I bought it at Ray, and it's called Pan de Pueblo, like bread of the people. But that's the one I like. I like the texture. It's not like Cuban bread. It most resembles French bread. It's airy and it's crusty. So I'm going to, when we're getting close, I'm going to put it in the oven. I made some herb oil. Herb oil is olive oil, salt, pepper, and then any dry herbs that I had. And I think I had oregano. I have, these are so cheap. You can buy them in the store. They're like on a rack. And I had culantro. It could be cilantro as well. And then I had this called finas herbias, fine herbs, right? But my favorite herbs, romero, okay? I had to get some, and then I chopped it and I put it all in here. So when I'm ready, I'm just going to brush them and put them in the oven on both sides. You can also use this herb oil to do, what do we call it? Croutons. I used to make croutons. So you cut your bread in like little squares, depending on the size you want, and you toss in a little bit of that herb oil. But the only different thing for the croutons, and you're gonna add some Parmesan, some dry Parmesan. Toss it all up and put it in the oven. Yum. You never have to buy that bad stuff anymore, okay? And if you wanna make some croutons for your people who make dressing for their turkey, I never like that. I don't really care for the dressing, so I'm not gonna put dressing in my turkey. My turkey is gonna be plain. But when I'm cooking my turkey, also on the inside, to help flavor, I cut a lemon, shove it in there, put some garlic and some herbs. After you put a little bit of your marinade that you have, salt and pepper, inside the turkey. That's what I put inside my turkey. When it's cooking, it's infusing in the breast, and then it gives you all that flavor, okay? So I do stuff it, but not like with the corn stuffing and all that. I had a lady, she used to work with me, and then she said she makes the best dressing. You know, they make a whole pot of it and you have it on the side or you shove it inside the kitchen. And she said she's gonna make me stuff. She made me a whole pan. And I'm like, I can't eat all that. She was so generous, so, but I just don't eat like that. So it's too much, too much. All right, so that's gonna be for our toast. Let's check on our soup. Actually, I think it looks really good. All right, so now I am going to add my peas. Not the water, I don't need the water. So this is kidney beans and some chickpeas. So there is plenty of protein in this soup. Ooh, that looks so good. Ooh. I think that's one thing, you know, if you're a cook and you love to cook, to love your own cooking, to me it's a blessing, and I do. I love my own cooking. So what else am I going to do for Thanksgiving? Turkey, rice, salad, one veggie, macaroni and cheese, scalloped potatoes, and of course you have to have a sweet potato dish. So I'm going to do a sweet potato souffle. And for dessert, we always get a cheesecake from Reba Smith. So whoever had asked me, Haitian legume, oh, I will, Claude, one day I will. I have some beef here, so it's easy to make. Maybe I'll make that next week for you, Claude. Now, people say they can make vegetarian legume. I don't know how that goes because you need that meat flavor. I need that bone flavor, so it's not the same. Ooh, that looks so good. All right, let's have a taste. It's good. It needs a little something, something. All right, I'm gonna put some Slap Your Mama in there. And a little bit of adobo. Now I need I'm going to put a habanero pepper in here, whole. Remember, I'm looking for the taste. Throw it in there. And we're going to need some acid, usually by the end, you know that. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and put the potatoes that have been soaking, because I don't want them to overcook. And towards the end, I'll dump some of that cheese in there. I never thought of adding queso blanco to my soup until I went to Peru. Okay. All right. Once the taste is good, is what I want, then I'll add the pasta. It's good. It needs the acid though. Now I left a piece of that basil for decoration because when I had my dish, they had a big piece of that in there. Can I join you? Where? Yeah, and then this one you can eat it with rice. Oh, guys, quinoa is abundant. Okay, in Peru. So here, when I go to Ray or when I go to Price Mart, I can find white quinoa, right? And I bought this big white quinoa, but I can't find a big bag of the red quinoa and the black quinoa. They only have like little one pack. I found the red quinoa. But I wanted to get the black quinoa or the multicolored quinoa. So I said, you know, I flew to Peru with one backpack and one handbag. That's all. So I'm like, how am I going to bring some quinoa? So I had a smaller backpack in my big backpack. So I put the quinoa in there. I went to the market and bought 2 bags. Uh, so I bought some black quinoa, and I bought some red quinoa. So when you come to Panama, after you go to immigration, you have to put your bag through security again for them to look under the X-ray. So I was standing there trying to organize myself because I was going to take the train back home, which is what I did both ways, going 35 cents to get to the airport. Yeah. So the guy comes to me and he's like, I want to look at your bag. Do you have some grains inside your bag? I'm like, sure, I have some quinoa from Peru. He said, no granos, no granos. I said, well, I thought I understood about the vegetables and the fruit. He's like, no, ningún grano. He said, this time I'm going to let it go, but next time, I'm like, oh, gracias, gracias. So he let me bring my quinoa back. I would have been upset if he took the quinoa from me. But anyway, all right, let me turn the oven on. We're going to, we will brush our bread and toast it in time for this. Oh, this is so good. But yep. And then they said, oh, the Inca people, they use quinoa all the time. And now all of a sudden, you're all talking about it's a superfood. I said, yeah, that's what they're saying. But they have a lot of quinoa. Woo. That's why I'm like, that place, the food, seriously, the food got me. Yeah. You know what? Claude asked me to make legume. Haitian food is really good, but it can be fattening. Oh my God. All right, some fresh lime juice. Oh, yum. This is your stabilizer. When you're trying to cook your food and it's missing a certain je ne sais quoi, just add some acid, okay? All right, so, oh, that looks so heavenly. Needs a little something else. I don't know what. Oh, I didn't put any paprika. Let's try some paprika. All right. Now, because remember, I don't use Maggie. I don't use MSG. No. All right. We're going to go ahead and put our pasta. I just found this multicolored one. I thought it would be nice. So which means this is basically good because once I put the pasta in there, I can just turn the heat off because I don't want the pasta to overcook. All right, and it's gonna thicken the sauce. Oop, I think I put a little bit too much pasta, but that's okay. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, that pepper did it. All right, let's we're going to brush. Where's my brush? Looking right at me. Oh, there it is. I forgot that I bought a set that looks like this. All right, so we're going to brush. And if you wanted to make some garlic toast with your herb oil, just add some fresh garlic to it. Now, you know that's going to be good, right? Because you have herb oil. So if you add some fresh garlic, you make garlic toast, you know, with the fresh, with the marinara that I showed you to make. That would be your side. Cooking can become an addiction, you know that? Okay. It's probably gonna be like 10 minutes. It will be done. Now our soup is basically done. Okay, this is our soup. Yep, it doesn't look as green, and I don't know what else they put in there, but I'm not willing to add any food coloring or anything like that. So this is a yummy pot of soup. Yum. All right, so the last thing we want to add is our cheese. At this point, like I said, I never thought of putting queso blanco. I make a chickpea salad with peppers, and that I use the queso blanco with it. But, all right, here we go. Woo. With all the seasoning, yum. Queso blanco is really popular here because it's like a Mexican, South American kind of thing. But look at that. Wow. Now you see, Claude, if you put some squash in here, that's your soup joumou. Oh man, that is so nice. I'm just gonna put a touch of salt. As you notice, I didn't put any salt anywhere, but I'm putting a little bit of salt. It's with oxtail, you guys. Okay, so now it is perfect. So I'm gonna turn the heat off, and we can just wait a few minutes for the toast. And we are done. Ooh, I feel so bad when I make these things, you guys, and I'm not here to say, can I make you a plate, a bowl? Mea culpa. All right, let's chat. Love how I look. Okay. Binta, hello, hello. I do cook with love because I love cooking. Cooking is my therapy, I told you. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I cook. So, all right, so this is good. Yeah, I love my trip to Peru. Now, I interviewed this lady from Indonesia the other day, and she's like, come for a visit. So next year, I'm thinking I may go to Indonesia and Kenya. Go visit. Why not? You know, when you're retired, that's what you do. You go places, you check off things off your list. Yeah, that's what you do. Love to cook as well. Yeah, I mean, you know, when you cook your own food, you know what you're eating. I go to restaurants, like if I'm traveling, but I don't like to spend money in restaurants because trust me, I know what goes on back there, and sometimes it's not pretty. It's depending on who the chef is, and you know, cleanliness, and people getting sick. It is not a good thing. So I try not to go out and eat. I eat my own food. I know how I cook, my kitchen, the hands, the cross-contamination, all of that. I think when I was in Peru, they were saying that they had something going on with the ground beef. Now I went to ground beef when my kids were like 5 and 6 or something like that. You know, in between school and practice, soccer, t-ball or whatever, we stopped at, what's that place? Taco Bell. The next day, both my kids were deathly sick. And I said, no more. I don't think we set foot in another Taco Bell since. And then my son, when he was a teenager, he worked at a McDonald's. He said, Mom, you don't want to know what happens back there. I said, don't tell me. I don't want to know. So when I used to travel, I would stop at a McDonald's in the morning. I would get a coffee. I used to like the Egg McMuffins. What else would I eat there? Sometime when I was doing home health, I would do like a Santa Fe salad or something, but I never cared for the meat and all that. I haven't had pizza in years. Kentucky Fried Chicken, that was another thing. Somebody worked there, she's like, you don't want to eat. You don't want to know what happens back there. And I know. And chicken is a dangerous food. This is the food that you can die from. If they don't keep it at the right temperature and it gets contaminated, you can die. So, and then the ground beef, if you don't clean the, what's the thing? The thing that grounds it, the grinder, that's where the bacteria stays. And there was another thing about the ice cream machines. If they don't clean it right, bacteria grows there. And I'm like, no, I am not eating. Nope. All right. Wow, it's so good. How much is the oxtail over there? Listen, Miss God's Grace. Remember I told you, they don't sell oxtail by the pound. Now, if you go to a place called Price Mart, it is like a Costco or a Sam's, they have them like in a big pack and they go by a pound. You know how expensive it would be. Here, because they kill the cow and then it's one tail. So the tail could be this big. And when you go to the fish market, meat market, usually if you don't go early, it's gone. So when I go, I'm like, tiene rabo. Rabo meaning the tail. She's like, oh no, I already sold it. They may have one, because if they have like half a cow, they'll have one tail. So you just ask for the tail. Mine was about this big this morning, $5.50. It goes by the pound. Really cheap. Can you substitute another meat if you don't eat oxtail? Absolutely. You could do any kind of beef chunks. It's not gonna taste as good with chicken. You need beef bones. So just go get some beef bones. And if you want to put some beef chunks, you can. I wouldn't use pork with this soup either. You gotta do beef. If you don't like oxtail, just use regular beef bone or regular chunk, like for stew. Thank you. Yes, I know, $5.50. I think the most I've paid for one oxtail is like $7. It's not expensive at all. And then they eat a lot of beef here in Panama. Lots of pork, but not pork blood that we use for grillo. It's cutlet. They use a lot of cutlets here. But in Panama, chicharron is a big thing. They say chichoneria. That means they sell chicharron. And chicharron means they have the skin, the fat, and the meat, and they fry it, which is what we use. We call grillo, where I come from. But chicharron is a big thing. And I haven't had it in a long time. And I was in Peru. I was walking through this market and they kept calling you. I'm like, okay, let me try the chicharron. They had 2 big pieces of meat like that. It's like, ooh, I can't do it. I couldn't do it. What herbs for the liver? I'm not focused on the liver. I'm sure you could look it up. But your liver, you know, because that processes everything. I don't worry about herbs for my liver. You just make sure you're eating right, you're drinking enough, your water, and you don't have a lot of toxins. That's what overworks your liver. So I don't know exactly what herbs. I'm sorry, Jess, but I'm sure you can look it up. But for me, I use a lot of mint for my tea and also some salads. If I'm making like, if I'm making like, a chickpea salad, I have olives and chickpeas and peppers. I'll put mint in there and it's really good. And I use a lot of cilantro. I use culantro, which is, I explained to you the difference here. Garlic is not an herb, but I use a lot of garlic. Black pepper, I even put that in my smoothies. It's actually good for you, and cayenne. And I use rosemary. Rosemary, I started using in a lot of my meat, except fish. So if you use meat, you could put a bit of that. And I use that a lot for my hair, for my scalp. Basil, I love when I make, now we have like a whole bunch of basil in this dish, but I put it in my marinara. Anything pasta, you put basil. Thyme, I'm Caribbean. We have thyme all the time. I don't have any today because I forgot to get some from yesterday. Lemon, lime, habanero pepper. I put a whole, when I'm cooking anything that has liquid or rice, I'll throw a whole habanero whole. Don't break it, it's gonna be too hot. But the skin infuses your dish with flavor, so you can use that. And I found them at Ray and also at the Merca, Panama, which is like the big farmer's market here. I know, I kept looking at the toast, thank you. It's almost. What else do I use? Cayenne pepper, like I said, is good for your food. It kind of helps your metabolism, so you can put that in your smoothies as well. It's really good. I use a lot of paprika, which is red pepper, a lot of that. And then salt. Iodized salt is good because you need to have iodine for your thyroid. So, and then sea salt is good because it's not so salty. But remember, salt is not all bad. Just don't overdo it and don't buy processed food that is preserved with salt. This is where we fall short when we're having the pretzels and all of these chips. That's where you get all the salt, okay? No, I haven't thought about putting my recipes in the book. I don't know if they're mine. Remember, this one is something I'm copying from what I had in Peru. No, I have not. I'm in the UK now. I am in Panama, Central America. You lost me with the garlic. I know it's not a herb, but I was just saying that I love a lot of garlic. Garlic is good for you. So, all right. So I think we can start. Oop, my toast is almost done. We can plate our soup and then we'll be done. The other thing I'm going to do for Thanksgiving, we're going to have the cheesecake that we ordered from Reba Smith. Someone was asking. Whenever I have a party here, I get this cake. One of the ladies brings it, and it's got, it's a strawberry cheesecake. They have a little strawberry on top. And I usually make a fruit compote with blueberry, raspberry, strawberries, and then you just put a little bit of brown sugar and orange juice, and then you put it on top. The other thing that I do apple crumble, which is like almost an apple, ooh, it's ready. Like an apple pie, but it's crumbled with fresh apple and a nice crust, yum. You can put ice cream on top of it. You do an a la mode. And I like to make, this is our toast, how pretty. I like to make also a fruit salad, which you can have all the fruits you want, and then you do a dressing for the fruit with yogurt. So you get fresh, plain yogurt, and then you put in there orange juice, lemon zest, and cinnamon, nutmeg, and then you beat it up and then you put it in the fruit. You do it overnight, and the next day, have a nice day here, South Korea. Add cinnamon and baking apples with the apple crumble. It is so good. Seriously, the apple crumble. All right. So let's plate our soup. Well, you know, to me, cinnamon is like, I put cinnamon in my smoothies too. It's an antioxidant, so it's good. Oh, I wish I could tell you how good this soup smells. Like I said, it is like a minestrone type minus we're not putting any marinara sauce in it, but oh, wow. I always tell the ladies, somebody come here and eat this because it's just too much for one person to eat. Whew. Yum, yum, yum. And I wanted the broth, and you could see I have a lot of broth. All right, let's bring this over here. Ooh. Ouch. Ooh. This is our soup. You see my soup, and we're gonna put our toast. And at this restaurant, they had one little side where they baked the bread, and then they brought the soup with a of toasted corn, which is something Peruvians put in their soup. You'll see when I posted my picture of the caldo de gallina, the chicken soup, they had a lot of lo mein noodles type thing, which is the heavy Chinese influence. They use a lot of that in their soup. Like, it almost looked like a pho because they had a boiled egg in there too. So it was like a pho. And then they had a couple of different sauces. One was really hot. I don't know why they had all the sauces there because I wasn't going to put it in my soup. I put the toasted corn in the soup, but they had the crusty bread. So here is my version. And so for those of you in Europe or in the north of America, this is a good oxtail. Shh, I'm supposed to be whole food, plant-based. Oh my gosh. I'm not just saying that, guys. And you know, this doesn't have a lot of different spices in it. It had to do with, I seasoned the meat before I cooked it. Garlic, olive oil, pepper, lemon juice, paprika, slap your mama, and the adobo. You season your meat when you do your soup, and your soup's gonna be good. Well, you wanna finish with it some acid. And if you could do a bouquet garni. You know, I didn't have any cilantro, but if I had that, I would make a bag and put it in there. But I did add that whole habanero, the skin infused inside the soup. So you have that. All right, guys. 2 snaps from Maggie. I'll take it. Any questions, you guys? Oh my God, this is so good. I'm supposed to go volunteer today in about an hour and a half. Yum, yum. And I'm sorry. So if you guys come to Panama, just tell me to cook you some soup and I'll treat you, I promise. But it is just so good. So go home and make some toast, okay? Whatever soup you make, whether it's split peas, minestrone, the Thai coconut soup we did last week with the shrimp, okay? Or we can do a plain vegetable soup. Plain vegetable soup is really good too with no meat. Or you can have the chicken soup for the soul. When somebody's sick, You just get a rotisserie chicken, you put some of that veggie in there, and you're good to go. All right. Any other questions, you guys? Thank you so much. I want to visit this summer. Yeah, please do. Mother and grandma, thank you. Cooking, yeah, cooking, volunteering, traveling. Don't forget travel. That's what life is all about. Don't keep yourself from enjoying life. Whatever you want to do, do it. Don't wait. Oh my gosh. I think that oxtail helped too. Shh. All righty. Are you guys good? Any other questions? Thank you, Maggie. I was late to your cooking today. I hope this live is repeated. It usually is on my page. If you go to the live section, you're going to see all the lives I did about cooking. Okay? So if you miss it, you can find it. Yeah, travel, volunteering, cooking, networking, taking care of my ladies here. That's what I do. When does raining season begin? Oh, we are in the rainy season till December. And then we get a break like January through like May is a dry season. After that, it's rain, rain, rain. But it doesn't rain every single day, nor does it rain all day. Some people think it rains all day. It doesn't. We may have a day where it rains for hours, but that's the exception rather than the rule. And it used to be that it rained only in the afternoon. Now it can rain in the morning. But we've had a lot of rain in the western region with lots of mudslides, people, homes getting, inundated, and it's not pretty. Thank you so much. Yeah, I enjoy my food too. Anything else? Well, Panama is a hotbed. A lot of people are coming over and enjoying it. So it's open for business. So is Peru. Peru's very pretty. Lots of people visiting. But it gets cold. And a lot of people don't want, I don't want to get cold, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to live there. But you get into Miraflores of Lima, people are wearing their leather jacket, they have boots on and nice sweaters. I like that too. Yeah, you need to visit Panama. Any other place you want to visit, go. Don't wait. Make it happen. Don't die with your dream inside of you. If you want to go visit a place, go. Don't say, oh, I'm going to go when I retire. I don't know if you heard me say that before. I have people who say, oh no, we're going to retire, my husband and I, we're going to buy an RV, we're going to travel. Within 6 months, they're dead or they get sick. So don't do that. Tomorrow is not promised. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And you see my pasta is not overcooked. It's al dente, which is what I call it. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to sign off if there are no other questions. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Go make some soup and feel warm and cozy, and then go live your life. Okay? All right. Bye, guys. Thank you for being here, enjoying my shenanigans and my cooking. I'm coming in December. Praying for sun. Like right now, it's a beautiful sunny day. And we are in the rainy season. You just don't know. And then we don't let the rain keep us from doing our business. You get the rainy jacket. Here in this house, if I have 3 bags, each bag has an umbrella. You make sure you have sunscreen. You have a hat. You have water. I have hand sanitizer. I have a mask. So that when I grab a bag, I'm ready to go. And the rain comes, you put your umbrella and you keep it moving. You're welcome, Miss Keisha. Say hello when you come in, okay? I was in Panama in 1986. Ooh, that was a while back. I could not keep my hair dry. Ooh, we just said the dry season is like January through May. That's the dry season. And that's when a lot of people come visit because somehow people are afraid of the rain. I don't know why. It does make a difference if you want to travel throughout the country, you know, if it's raining really bad. But January through May are your best month to visit. You have less chance of rain. Last year was a dry season all year long, it seemed. But this year we've had good rain. Yep. And then my hair, that's why I only do braids. So when it rains, people are like, oh, I'm like, hey, no problem. I'm so hot. Let the rain come. I have no problems with it. And I have hats, especially for when it's really hot, you want to cover yourself. And sunscreen is very important because the sun can be pretty harsh in the dry season. All right, guys, I'm going to be signing off. Thanks again for hanging with me. I'll see you next week. So next week is going to be after Thanksgiving. Oh, gosh, I have to do something light. Everybody's going to be stuffed up. I have to find something light to cook. All right. It was sunny and hot. When was that, Maria? In 1986? I mean, like I said, right now I'm looking out. It's beautiful. It's sunny. Yesterday I went for a walk at 7 and I kind of got rained on. But this morning I went for a walk. It was beautiful and breezy. Yeah. You just never know. Things change a lot. All right, I'm going to go. Nice to see you guys. Thank you for hanging with me and being on the live. See you next week. All right. Bye-bye. How about a quiche? Okay. What kind of quiche would you want, Jess? What kind of quiche? Do you want veggies and cheese or what do you want in it? Hi. Vegan. Okay. Well, you have to do the crust a little bit, and a crust usually involves a little bit of fat. Okay. We can do that. Vegan. No cream, no eggs. You know, one thing about me, Jess, when they say vegan, I usually don't believe in saying vegan cheese, vegan this, vegan that, because it's like a fake of the thing that we don't want to eat. So we try to keep it natural, but we're not going to put any meat in it. And we'll see. All right? Okay. I will talk to you. Not really vegan. I thought you said vegan. Oh, veggies and cheese. Yeah, we'll do that. Because the crust that you make, it's like when you make a pie, it's a basic crust, but it needs a little bit of fat and with the flour. So when you slice your quiche, then it holds up, right? Okay, we'll do that. Avocado. Well, avocado, you don't want to cook it. We can maybe garnish it with avocado. Yeah. Okay. You're not vegan. Me neither. I'm not. But I believe eating naturally. That's my belief. All right. Talk to you later, guys. See you next week while I enjoy this soup. All right, Jess. Bye. Mwah.